4. But words like mediator, alright, we're going to look at that and indicate that it is one who goes between, and highlighted that Jesus Christ is indeed our mediator, or is the mediator of the New Testament, which draws into the other word, testament, where we got an understanding that when we talk about testament, another word for that is agreement, covenant. These are words that are synonymous with the same meaning. I'm really speaking about an undertaking, promise. That's what the word says. It's an agreement. Now, some covenants are one-sided, where one is making a promise or a commitment, and the other is just receiving. So, you make an agreement and you are just only one side. Alright? And agreement or covenant does not only occur with respect to God. Alright? We have covenants, one with another. Alright? But it's interesting that some covenants are mutual. What do we mean by mutual? We looked at it last time. We were at the idea of mutual. In the context of a mutual agreement. Who's the role of the next? Alright, so the idea is two-sided, alright, mutual. Alright, so we saw this, and this was part of your homework, I believe, while we made reference to Deuteronomy. Alright, we made mention of Deuteronomy chapter 19 and chapter 30. Alright, and what we saw here was that there were mutual promises. God was making some commitment to Israel, alright, and Israel was making some commitments to God. Alright, so we see that when we talk about covenant or an agreement or in a testament, it's one connotation of it. It can be mutual in nature. Let's pick up here as point 4 on the testament, covenant agreement, that there is Deuteronomy 19. Deuteronomy chapter 29 and chapter 30. So 2 chapters. So this is where God was making some agreement with the children of Israel, but in making some promises to them, some commitment to them, giving them some that he undertaking some things. They also had to commit some things to God. And a lot of our agreements are like that. You promise to do this, and I promise to do that. Alright, so it's mutual. Right? Those are probably the better covenants, the better agreements. Right? But there are others where it's just one-sided. Right? Okay, I want to sort of re-emphasize some things with with point 4. That's another issue here. Okay, the basis established by the death of Christ on which the salvation of men is secure. That's what is striking about the New Testament. So when we read passages, and we can read a few of these, there are quite a few here. Matthew 26 and verse 28 says what? Matthew, we can look at Luke 22, 20, Hebrews 12, 24, I'm putting some random. But there is a common theme coming out of each of these when we look at them. Alright? Read.
And when he had sung a hymn,
As soon as what are you?
Matthew 26, verse 58.
Right.
For this is my blood of the new covenant, which is shed for many for the remission of sins.
So this is my blood, alright, of the new covenant. So the covenant, the agreement, the testament that is being referred to as the New Testament. This is the one that is sealed and associated with the blood of Christ. Alright? So we recognize that while there are host of agreements and host of covenants, there is something special about the New Testament, the New Covenant. Alright? Read another one. If I can just run down the any of them. What we're going to see is that they are all centered around Jesus Christ paying the price. Alright, let's announce the passage I read. First Corinthians 11:25.
Reads, in the same manner he also took the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the new covenant in my blood.
This new covenant in my blood. So what we're saying now, that this particular covenant, the New Testament, is a special agreement. It's a special covenant with us and God. Alright, this covenant is held in Jesus Christ, alright, and his death. Alright. So for this reason, you can just change the numbers on the sheet. So this covenant is called, we could just make these bullets. Alright. We have 3, 4, and 5, we can just make them bullets. So the covenant is called new, as we see in the text that we are looking at. It's a New Testament. Alright, that's Hebrews 9:15. Alright, you have the passage at the top of the sheet. Alright, so it's not just a covenant, but it is a new covenant. It's not just a testament. It is the New Testament. It's significant about the testament being the new one. Is there anything very significant about that? It being the New Testament. What's so significant about it?
Yes, because we have our old ones.
Different is a concept, not quite what I'm looking for, but that is significant. Alright, I'm going to talk about later on somewhere. Okay, you are like, it's a word.
The new covenant or New Testament meant that someone would die. But the new covenant really died.
They are very warm.
It will become a death. It died.
Okay, I like how you went, like a wing. Yes? And that's how we are going. I have to give me a sheet. Let's see what she likes. The significance of the New Testament. What's so significant about it being the New Testament?
It's like you cannot do anything if the person's alive, he's free or she's free, whatever they choose to do. But when they're gone, somebody else, they say the document that is supposed to be done, is what is done. So it's new and different.
branch for circle and that pitching on it, right? It's for the here. And I think we're going to understand. If the word spoken by angel was still fast, and then the transfer to the right and say, "Wow, what shall we say?" It really meant a great salvation, which was what we know and confirmed by the hearing. That's what we call it, great salvation at the Alright, all of what we're saying is on it, alright? The trade I wanted was to look at in the concept of the New Testament. So for the reason and Sister Mills, or certain errors, because it touches. When you went to will, you want to have a look at it? Sister Fisher wants to come in with you.
Just wondering if, when you have a new will, it means that it takes over from any other will that they
Old Testament. That's right.
That's the very
Yeah.
Alright, the very alright. Let's stop. Alright. Okay, so that is what is most significant. Alright? You could have 1,000 will. But it's the new one is the one that is important. You know, we can say a lot of things about the penultimate, you know, the fifth from last, the third from last, the second from last will. But the one that is really going to be important is the last will, the one that is the newest one. Alright, and so when you think about all other agreements, all other testament, all other will, all other covenants, it is the new covenant that is significant in our interaction with God. Alright, and so it might seem like a passing thing to be talking about testament, but when we put them together now, and for this cause is the mediator of the New Testament. What we are seeing is that this agreement that is new, is what is going to guide what we can expect from God, and what God, in a sense, expects from us. The New Testament, but it is hinged on Jesus Christ. Not only is the covenant referenced as the New Testament or the New Covenant, in places like Hebrews 8 and verse 7, we see that it is referred to as the second covenant.
For if the first covenant had been faultless, then no place would have been sought for a second.
Okay, so to me this is not even as dramatic as the new, but what we do see is that it being the second gives the precedence over the first. Right? This has importance because there are many who continue to hold on to the old, that continue to hold on to the first. But when we can appreciate that God has different covenants, that applies to us, we must always be careful not to hold on to the old when there is a new. And so when the Adventists and others want to hold on to the Old Covenant, the Old Testament, then we now just need to realize that the fact that there is a New Testament, or a second one, it has implication for the first one. And the implication is not a positive one for the first. I can say that the first one is now God and God.
And the same chapter of the Lord. Hebrews chapter 8, verse 30. Let's read that so that we will observe. The same from that point. In that he said, the new covenant, we have made the first old. Now that which took place in the water old is what the one shall live. So the New Testament, Bible, the capacity, so one can be in existence of necessity. The first one has to be.
And it will be a side issue. But there are persons who will tell us, this is not the core of her. But let me see those who have a will. Alright? A will is a very good thing to have. Alright? And there are a whole lot of things you can say about a will. But the thing is, a will will, alright, will allow when you are gone to know what it is that you wanted to happen to what you have. Right? So, but the thing is, if you write a will, you can change your will tomorrow. Alright? And it means that what you had, your will of yesterday, will have no strength. Alright? When compared or when looked upon with the second or the last one. Alright? So I think to straight. Let me just make this statement. When you have a opportunity on something, sometimes to share. Sometimes we have the concept that we shouldn't have a will. Sometimes you have married person who say, oh, well, what I have been with my spouse name on it, so, it will automatically go. But let me put this out to you. Sometimes you don't know how you're going to go. You ever thought about that? That you may very well go in an accident. Alright? And in that death, it causes you to get cause that you dream that you have done. And then it will go to your estate. Right? That's another discussion. But the point though is that the second will nullifies the first. If you have an agreement and you change the agreement, then the second one nullifies the first agreement. Alright? And so we understanding the testament, alright, understanding the concept of the New Testament, then sheds that light that you can't say, oh, it's just another testament. Who has another testament in their life? In their body of teaching. But they actually call it another testament. The Mormons. They actually say the book of Mormons, another testament. Alright? Of Jesus Christ. Alright? You know what they are actually saying there? It's more than what we call the New Testament, because it came after. So what they, by that simple statement of another testament, they are actually setting the precedence to say, what you see in the New Testament, don't hold on to that. What we need to hold on to is what is in the book of Mormons, because the book of Mormons is another testament. So they're saying, we are another will. So don't go look for your inheritance in what we call the New Testament. because the Book of Mormon is. So understanding the concept of testimony is important to our inheritance in terms of what we do, what we practice. Alright, so in the same way, see your hand on it. In the same way, we can put in context the Old Testament and don't get confused and what we must, kill some cow every X number of days and get some turkey dog. We don't have to wonder about that is done away. Alright? And in the same way, we can jump on something new. Alright? Say it's another testament that has implications. Yes, all this.
There's something that I observed. Today I was talking about Adventists. At the earlier, I went to videos 1 verse 1 to 2, just to make a comparison on the book. I explained in time past and now. Just to show the scripture. First, Muslim see. Realize most of the Adventists. Because we're reading out of context. No matter what they say to them, they're not going to see. And this is just a thought that came to mind that in dealing with probably some of the hardcore Adventists, if we can also approach them from the root of context to let them see, because if they can't see the very point about the New Testament, the new mediator, then they're going to say things. But they don't want to people to realize so what they will never get it. But they're just holding on to that system. Even when I don't want to work on message most of the time, but just to give a quick example. This person was a long time customer of aliens at work. And I said, okay, they have their transition to our first class. And I was kind of hypothetically showing some of the rules that aliens do not have. And I asked the person, the person created some rules and said, these are rules of aliens. No first class people, we just secondary in terms of just the exam itself. And I asked her, which one would you observe? So the new one. Right? So I went to the extreme to show the first class.
So that's up to illustration.
And the teacher still fully appreciate themselves.
Alright, so all we can do is teach. Alright, right. So what the point and the illustration is a good one. Alright, that where there's a new, then you can depend and hold. You can take port the old. Alright? So we want to recognize then that when we speak about the testament and the covenant, that the qualification is important. So the first thing is to appreciate the word testament. Alright? It's an agreement, whatever. But in looking at it, I want us to join the word testament with what comes before it. Alright? In Hebrews, it's not just that he's the mediator of testament, but he is the mediator of the New Testament. Alright? So we're going to wire now and say that in other contexts, we also see similar type of qualifying or qualification of the testament. So not only do we see New Testament, but we see Second Testament, but it has the same type of implication. It nullifies the first or the old. Right? Just for emphasis, in the same way we can appreciate that the New Testament makes null and void the Old Testament. Be careful how we are quick to accept newer testaments as the Book of Mormon that is illustrated. there are not many denominations that are as outright and barefaced as the Mormons, who actually have other testimony, right? But there is something that we sometimes accept without even thinking about it. Where a person will say that they have dreams, or God told them, or one of the things they call themselves prophets. And they are modern day apostles. What they have done in that is they have sort of nullified the New Testament. Because what they are saying is that God has somehow found another way to give them instructions and to come to a covenant, to come to an agreement with them. And the hope too is in that thing with continuous revelation. Yeah? What's the idea of continuous revelation? Let me verify my lesson tonight. Continuous revelation. What's that? Continuous, it's almost nice.
It's like a lazy spirit that system, everything does. Free for all of them to do what they want to do. So nothing is said because it's stories. So you can
A little bit more than that, that's on it. Brother Gabriel, can I put you on the spot? Continuous revelation.
Where that's what we said, the revelation that we have, there's no other revelation that will come after the New Testament. After the apostles' teaching, there should be no other revelation. It's not continuous. You won't have it. Everybody just speaks of it. You won't have any other new doctrine, any other new teaching. Because the Bible says that any other person come and not say anything right, but it's not continuous.
Right. Okay. So the concept of continuous revelation is saying that it is God's instruction to us is constantly evolving. And so we can't rely on the Testament, the New Testament that we have it. Because God can at any point in time and depending on the situation change up things. Alright? But that is not so. So we need to know the concept of the New Testament. We have to defend it. We can't allow persons to take it away from us. That becomes now the precedent, the ground on which we stand. If that is removed, then anything can go. Because if you say, well, God does continuous revelation, so He might send me a vision that overflows the New Testament. What is clearly taught in the New Testament, that means that anything can go. Because all that was established or say is that God told me. So even though it says, you must not lie. But God tells me that I can't lie. So that's okay. Yes.
Again, I think we need clarity when we speak about the New Testament. Because even today, the person was referring to some of the passages from Matthew, Mark, and John. So even when we speak about the New Testament, even though those books are included, we should also put clarity. So the encourage us to know when things became in effect. You see where I'm going? Because when we just Wednesday, the New Testament, we can call that trap. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, sometimes you may need a further explanation. Alright? I'm going to not even take it like go down that, but that's true. Alright? So we don't look at certain instructions that Jesus Christ had given to his disciples, because they were still living under the Old Testament. Here's another qualifier. So we have seen the qualifier new. Alright, we have seen the qualifier second. But I like this other one, Hebrews chapter 7 and verse 22. So in respect to this testament, this covenant, it is not that it is only your, and not only has it made the previous null and void, but it is better. Hebrews 7, 22.
There is so much more. Jesus has become a surety of a better covenant.
Of a better covenant. Alright? So sometimes, you get that newer thing, but it doesn't necessarily better.
That's right.
You do. Right? You get a new shirt, but not because it's new, you get better than the old one. Right? But Jesus Christ and this covenant is not only new,
Better.
but it is a better testing. Let's start with the right way Christian said. What is the first step? The first testament is the same thing as the no, maybe it's not that answer.
The Old Testament. Old.
Old Testament.
Right.
Alright? So in all this context, the Old Testament. So is the first testament the same as the New Testament?
No. No.
No, it's not. Alright? Okay. Is Christ the mediator of the first testament?
No. No.
Well, why is that? Read carefully Hebrews again. It's at the top of your sheet. For this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament. So is the New Testament the first testament?
No.
No.
I'm trying to confuse you. Alright? No, it's not. So, Christ is the mediator of the New Testament. Christ was not the mediator of the Old Testament.
Yeah.
His blood and support never come into play in setting up the Old Testament.
At the time.
So that's supposed to be striking when persons are going to tell us how to hold on to the Old Testament. Alright, we have to be mindful of that. Let me, in a few minutes, touch on any question. I want to jump into the redemption, but there is a point that's not on the sheet that is in my notes. We talk about the qualifying of the testament. The new, the second, the better. Alright? Notice the mediator. So I'm jumping off that. Alright? The mediator is not that he is a mediator,
Yeah, means one.
but that he is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
mediator. Okay, so he is the only one
Yeah.
that can guarantee the promises. Alright, it's not, so we can't know start equating other persons like Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
So we can't be talking about Mohammed. We can be talking about Krishna. We can be talking about these persons are trying to equate them as the heads and persons who are going to make our salvation possible, which is only He, is the only one. So that's what the verse highlights. For this cause, He is the mediator. So there can be no other. You can't just
I was just thinking earlier that the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, they work together as one. And you say that the mediator of the First Testament is the Father, right?
Well, in a sense, we can concede that, but I probably can't qualify on that. Concede.
And if you have a testament, and you're going to change, and you make a new one from the old, then how would it be that? Okay, and if only makes a way, and I make a way. That's two different things. So it's not the same thing. But I'm saying if the first one is not yours, then how you making a new one?
I like the question. The mediator, I remember my illustration can go so far, right? The covenant, the agreement is between God and man. Yes? Was that the case for the Old Testament? Yes. It was an agreement between God and man. Right? It was probably narrowed to a set of men, persons, I mean the children of Israel. But it was a covenant between God and man. The New Testament is still a covenant between God and man. With the New Testament, it was a covenant between God and man. We have the mediator in the person of Jesus Christ. Let me draw your attention to something we said earlier. One E. So the mediator should possess himself the nature of the attributes of him towards whom he acts, and should likewise participate in the nature of those to whom he acts. So that is why Jesus Christ is the perfect mediator of the New Testament, because he now is God and he can relate to man because he became man. And so that puts him in a unique position. Now, sure, we can take an illustration, but we have to think about how far we stretch it. Alright, how we take it, because every covenant is not the same in nature. Right? We found illustrated it earlier, where we said that you can have a covenant that is one-sided. Alright? So our seeds, where God has a makes all the commitments. I promise to do. Right? Read that verse supposed to be Deuteronomy 29 and 30, chapter 29 and chapter 30. What we see in that one is that God was making some promises and man was making some promises too. Right? What's the point? Covenants can be different. Yes, I see a follow-up question. No? What a question.
So what I listened, when you quoted earlier, God is sometimes diverse not speaking time past the part of the problem. But in these last days, he goes through the surprise. So the same God speaking to us, and the part of God goes through time.
Give you hear of all things. So they did it, but what came from is that I might go in this state and I give somebody, what do you know what I mean? That you can
Attorney.
so I give the persons that I did not use as a court attorney to act as me and as the whole it's explained. But in essence, he gave the attorney to act on the brother.
Yes, so yes. What we see in places like Hebrews chapter 8 and I'm wrapping up. Hebrews chapter 8 and verse 6, chapter 12 and verse 24, if you read these passages, is that he acts as a guarantee. That's what Jesus is doing in the role as mediator. So the covenant itself is still between God and man. But Jesus Christ is the one who guarantees. And how do he guarantee? Through his blood, through his death. Yes, brother.
Yes, we said it first it all comes on the term better. The concept of better covenant, because the two covenants are not apart at all. But the first one, and also what I was saying, speaking about guarantee that type of salvation. So the second covenant now has to have Christ as a mediator. That we really bring out salvation, because even the first people would not be saved without the second, without Christ. So Sherry, it is better because it has Christ now as the one that will give blood now brings fruit salvation. That is not even mediator. The old covenant they don't have it at all. It was had the blood of bulls and goats or whatever. There was no
Or that's what you wanted to ask.
Making the will and mediating. And that Christ was the mediator of the second will and wasn't for the first. So making the owner of the God is the owner and he hasn't changed. Because he's not the owner of history. It's God's will.
Right, so the question really is, alright, so that's the last question on page 1. Is Christ the mediator of the first testament? Alright, so I really didn't get into was there a mediator of the first. You probably inferred it. But the point is that Jesus Christ was the mediator of the first testament, but he's the mediator of the new testament. Alright? Okay, so there's a little bit more. In fact, some of the things that were coming out of that child to dissect between the various words, they're all tied up. What we find is that when we look at the word redemption. It then pulls in some of the other concepts in terms of, even persons under the Old Testament had to benefit. They still have to rely on what Jesus Christ did. But we'll probably get to look at that another time. Alright, I thank you for your active participation. Alright, and you can use the sheet if you don't get a chance to come back to it in the near future. The terms, the words, redemption, and again I want you to observe the definite article D. Alright, is significant with both redemption as well as the word with transgressions. Alright, but if you follow through on the outline, then I think it can be useful to us to understand God's plan of salvation for us all. So again, thanks for your participation.
Amen.
It's possible that he can complete this sheet with thousands more, and we hope that we come up with it very ready. Currently, it's 562, 560. We are not afraid that there will be some fear in the whole dating system, but will be there for this weekend. She will be here on Sunday, so she wants to go to church. We want to pray for Sister Lava in this situation on Sunday, pray for funeral, and of course, in coming. She had a death in her family, and she had to go, so as a people with her, she is mourning as a two persons. And her brother and the mountains, so as he was a people with her, and it was her and their mother, and they were to see that they were disappeared. Now, the church of 516 will stand and say, stands upon, and then they ask for official instance of 562. Stanza 1, then the officially asked this is 560. Be not the cross, Christ will be today, intercede for you. Lift up your voice, lift
Thank you. Great.